Hi everyone, this is Tim. Welcome to North and South Podcasts. Bit of a serious one today because I'm talking about going through really difficult moments and really difficult days and times. So I'm going to be speaking about that today. It's a Wellbeing podcast. I think it's important to be honest, and I'm going to be really honest today. And some people might say, well, you shouldn't share all of the things that you're going to share today, but I just think we need to get beyond that now. I just think we need to be open and honest about things. I've been very busy over the last 6 weeks doing a project with vulnerable people, doing podcasting with them. So I'm looking to move into charity work, community interest, company work. If you're interested in getting involved, please get in touch through Twitter or TikTok, or you can contact me if you know me. Also, if you can contribute the cost of a cup of coffee once a week, details are in the podcast notes. It's a huge, huge difference, not just to me being able to podcast, but in order to do good work in the community as well. And I'll be sharing more on that in the months to come. So if you can do that, it's really, really big. And people usually say, oh, £3 a month, can you do it for my podcast? And people listen to a lot of podcasts, you can't do it for all of them, but this is a genuine grassroots independent podcast and also charity. So if you can get involved, that would be great. Well, not quite a charity yet, but a CIC, community interest company. But done my first project with vulnerable people in the community talking about neurodiversity. Also, if you want to get involved to help with technical stuff, video editing, sound engineering, doing jingles for things, bits of music, research. If you've got your own ideas about helping out with North and South podcasts and North and South, generally do try to get in touch and let me know. Someone got in touch with me recently and I messaged them back, but they haven't got back to me. That person, please get back in touch. I am very interested to hear what you had to say. And also thanks for all the comments and the people who have contributed financially in the past. It really helps and it makes a big, big difference to me. So I have had a bit of a funny January and February, and people talk about January blues and being a bit down. And I think I've been a bit down over the last 2 months. Spring is coming, it is getting brighter. I do have a sad lamp that I put on every morning when I have my breakfast to kind of give me that natural daylight through a lamp, as it were, to lift my mood. I exercise every morning. I do my journaling. I meditate. There's a lot of stuff I do in relation to well-being. And if I didn't do them, getting through the last 2 or 3 days would be even more difficult. And I'll tell you about those in a moment. So I've been a bit down and I've just had low mood and not feeling too good about things, not feeling too good about new projects I've been doing, having an inner critic saying, oh, this is rubbish, you're no good, what's the point? Those kinds of things. And it's got a little bit too much, I think, in January and February. And I've been able to call it and say, right, this is that, because of all the work I've done in the past with counselling and me own reading about well-being and speaking to people on this podcast, etc. I kind of know what to do, but I don't always do it, even though I do a lot of good things that helps me to offset those more difficult times. I do enjoy my life. I've got so much to live for, things that mean a lot to me. But about 2 years ago, just before I started doing this podcast, I looked in the mirror one morning and said, right, what are you doing with your life? And one of the things that I decided to change was to start podcasting and just try and have a positive influence in the community. And the other week, I wrote down what I really want from life. And there was two themes. One was to be involved in the community doing good work. And the second one was to be a good father for my son. And they're the two things that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm on earth for. And I need to remember that at all times. And sometimes I forget. And there are things we need to do in life that we don't always enjoy, that we find difficult, and that's okay. That's what life's like sometimes, and it can be difficult. You know, that's life. But of recent, I haven't been feeling as good as normal. And I noticed that, and I've reached out and messaged a few people, and they've messaged me back and asked nice questions. And I was thinking maybe I need to talk to a counsellor or someone a little bit more professional. So the company I work for, I received a message from them the other day about a wellbeing app that they've paid for. And I went on this wellbeing app yesterday and I requested some counselling. And 4 hours later, someone called me back and spoke to me, and I had a counselling session lasting 20 minutes. And during that day, I wrote down all the things that were on my mind because I just felt like January, February, for whatever reason, lots of little things had come together and it just filled my stress jar so much that it was overflowing. And it kind of came to a head in work on Tuesday and Wednesday. I just wasn't myself. And I had a bit of a fight or flight response to a couple of things, which didn't help. And it wasn't me and it wasn't right. And I requested this counselling. And someone spoke to me, someone in Leeds, and they spoke to me and asked me some questions. And I kind of knew all the answers to everything. But to just hear someone listen to what I'd said and to take it seriously and to just repeat it back to me and ask me questions, it really clarified my mind because sometimes we can't see the wood for the trees in our own mind because our own minds are so complex. Even when you've got knowledge of things and you're fairly wise about things. But we need to be okay with our strengths and weaknesses. And I'm just speaking from the heart here because, as you all know, if you've listened to other podcasts, when I was 29, I had a real difficult time with my physical and mental health. And I've kind of been on a bit of a journey since then. And I think I told you the quote from Dante's Inferno. Halfway through my life, I found myself in a dark wood, and the way forward seemed unclear. I really felt like that when I was 29, and I feel like I'm such a better person for exploring things since then. But there are days when, even with all the knowledge and all the good practice, life is very, very difficult. And some people manage more than others. And sometimes you need to be honest and say that you maybe don't manage as well as the average person. And I'm kind of waiting to see a specialist about ADHD and neurodiversity diagnosis. And at some point in life, you just need to say that you have got strengths and weaknesses, and that's okay. And there are things that you struggle with. And I know that sometimes I can get quite emotional. And sometimes you can say to other people, yeah, I get quite emotional. And that is difficult when this happens or that happens or you do this. And you also need to be okay with the fact that sometimes those people might not always respond to that. And you still have to keep dealing with that situation. And it can be very, very, very tough. And although I've mentioned before, like cost of living, etc., the cost of having your own place now in this country, the UK, for the average person, particularly young people growing up, and our pathetic excuse for the government we've had since about 2019, it doesn't look good when you've got fools running things, which is what we've got now in the UK. Things might change a bit, but when you try to go to hospital or try to go to a GP because you're having a little bit of a crisis, physically or mentally, that matters. And when people, young people, are getting sent 200 miles away for a mental health bed, that matters. And when you've got young people waiting so long to see a mental health specialist when referred through the school system, That matters. And when they say 1 in 4 people have got a mental health issue, some people say in their lifetime, others say at any given time, those things matter. And we need more people who have got lived experience of these things, making key decisions and being involved in things and being honest about things and being honest about the societies that we want and we need to make the world a better place. And it's okay not to be okay, and it's okay to struggle, and it's okay to be honest and go, do you know what, I struggle with that. And it's okay to just expect your human rights to be acknowledged. And there's a theory of disability called the social theory. I might have that slightly wrong, saying that it's not people who are disabled, it's society's problem for not facilitating their needs. Why would anyone want to be disabled or have a learning difficulty or be neurodiverse or ill in this country these days in 2024? And we live in one of the better ones in the UK. So what are the answers? The answers are to know yourself, to examine yourself, to better yourself, to be honest with yourself. Before you're honest with anyone else, you've got to be honest with yourself. I do journal and meditation. I'm quite honest and frank with people. Does it mean other people always behave appropriately and respond positively? No. Does it mean your little actions make the world a better place necessarily? No. But as Kant said, the philosopher Kant, all we can do is good things in the world. As Paul Coe, who's been on this podcast, has said, the most important thing you can do is to be kind to yourself and others and take responsibility for yourself and try and better yourself. And I don't think there's any greater mission in life than to do that. So know yourself and better yourself, as Yuval Harari said. I've mentioned it so many times on this podcast. And then think about the groups you join. I listened to the Adult ADHD UK podcast, and I listen to quite a lot of things that help me week by week, day by day. And sometimes you've got to acknowledge that the world is quite a mad place at times. It doesn't always make sense. And that's okay too, because we're all trying to find our way through it. And we're trying to do our best. We've got our families, we've got our loved ones, we've got our communities, but we've got so much to fight for. So just to try and conclude this and draw it back together, know who to reach out for if you're having a difficult time. You need to have people. If you're having a really, really difficult time, and some of the people who've been on this podcast in the past have been sectioned and attempted suicide, etc., know who to contact. Samaritans, phone 999, reach out to other people who are close to you, and know when a bad dip is coming. Kind of be aware that you're not having a great time, and do what you need to do. Take time for yourself. And yeah, we all need to pay the bills, but at the end of the day, your well-being is the most important thing in your life. And you've got to look after yourself. You've got to find meaning in your life. And if there are things which are bothering you, people who are bothering you, yeah, you have to work on yourself to try and adapt. But sometimes you need to get away from those things and reduce contact with them. And that can be hard. So look after yourselves, folks, and know to reach out for. I'm feeling a bit better since I spoke to that person yesterday, and I felt like things came to a little bit of a head, which has led to me making a few little changes which I've needed to do. And just look after yourselves, be kind to yourself, to others, take responsibility for what you can, and try and enjoy your life. Try and allow happiness into your life, those little things that make you happy, a piece of music, a walk, playing with your children, going out for a meal, those little things. Cherish those moments, because one day those moments will run out. Anyway, I hope that wasn't too depressing, and look after yourselves.